I'm Brielle Haynes, 34, a senior project strategist at a top energy consulting firm in Austin, Texas, where the city's eclectic charm masks a fierce corporate grind. For a decade, I've climbed the ladder entry-level analyst to dealmaker thriving on high-stakes negotiations and outpacing the competition. Pressure is my fuel. My husband, Jesse Haynes, 36, is my opposite, a middle school art teacher in South Austin, gentle, introspective, the kind of man who paints murals on weekends and volunteers at the local animal shelter. We used to laugh that I brought the ambition, he brought the soul, a perfect balance. Until it wasn't. One Monday night, a single sentence, sharp and careless, cracked our foundation. Do you ever want more than this? I didn't mean to wound him, but the silence that followed felt like mourning. It started with an email I'd been chasing for months, a promotion to director, a six-figure bonus, a company car, the pinnacle of everything I'd worked for. I was in our cozy South Austin bungalow, the smell of cedar and coffee lingering, when I turned to Jesse, who was trimming on our Labrador Gus's nails on the floor. I got it, I said, voice electric. He looked up, his warm hazel eyes crinkling with a sincere smile. That's amazing, Bree. Maybe now we can fix the dryer. His tone was light, but the words landed like a jab. I stared at him, this man who once dreamed of a community art center, but now seemed content with grading papers and tinkering with broken appliances. Pride should have swelled in me. Instead, I felt caged. So I said it. Do you ever want more than this? The air shifted heavy and sharp. Jesse stood, set the nail clippers on the counter, and said, Maybe I do. But maybe you've already decided I'm not enough. His voice was quiet, but it cut deep. That night, a silence thicker than Texas summer heat settled between us. The days after were a masterclass in avoidance. We moved through our routines like ghosts, brewing coffee, feeding Gus, sharing a bed, but sleeping back to back, the space between us, a chasm. Jesse started staying late at school, citing evening projects with students, or helping his old college buddy Cal, a recently divorced nonprofit director, set up art booths downtown. Cal's name hadn't surfaced in years, but suddenly he was everywhere in Jesse's schedule. At first, I brushed it off. Jesse was just blowing off steam. But one afternoon, tidying our cluttered living room, I found a flyer for a 3-month art residency in Marfacal, listed as a facilitator, with Jesse's handwriting scrawled on the back, could be a reset. My stomach dropped. A reset from what? From me. I didn't confront him that night, but I started watching him. His distracted glances, his guarded phone, his clipped tone when I mentioned our plans. Was this about ambition, or was he pulling away entirely? I confided in my best friend Ava, a tech exec, who'd known us since our backyard wedding. Over margaritas on Rainy Street, she waved off my fears. You're overthinking it, Bree. Jesse's just finding his spark again. You've been center stage so long, maybe he's figuring out how to shine next to you. I forced a laugh, but her words lingered. Had I been so focused on my climb that I'd left Jesse in the shadows? That night, lying awake, I wondered if I'd been running so fast I hadn't noticed. He wasn't beside me anymore. Work was no escape. My firm was spearheading a massive renewable energy project, a $200 million deal, with a tight deadline to secure government grants. As lead strategist, I was juggling client meetings, regulatory hurdles, and a team of analysts, including my sharp but overeager junior Marcus, who pushed risky proposals. The pressure was relentless, and my distraction showed. Marcus called me out after a botched presentation. You seem off, Brielle. Everything okay? I snapped. Focus on your job, not my mood. His tight nod stung more than a rebuke. Office whispers grew, colleagues speculated about my edge, my focus. My boss Diane, a seasoned exec with zero patience for slip-ups, warned me, this deal's your legacy. Don't let personal stuff tank it. I nodded, but my mind was on Jesse, on the flyer, on the growing distance between us. The unraveling came on a Sunday. Jesse returned from his morning hike, a cardboard box under his arm. I assumed it was art supplies for his students. Instead, he set it on the kitchen table and said, eyes averted, I'm moving out. Just for now. My breath caught. What? He exhaled, voice steady but trembling. I need space, time, maybe distance. I'm doing the Marfa residency with Cal. 3 months. I didn't tell you because I didn't think you'd get it. My mouth went dry. Why wouldn't I get it? He looked at me raw and unguarded. Because every time I talk about something that's not a spreadsheet or a bonus, you tune out Bry. You stopped seeing me, and I stopped trying. I stood frozen as he packed a duffel-kissed Gus's head and walked out. No yelling, no theatrics, just a quiet exit that broke me. The bungalow felt hollow without him. Gus's whining echoed my unease. I threw myself into work, hoping the renewable deal would drown my guilt, but every late night at the office reminded me of Jesse's absence. Marcus stepped up, but I was short with him, my patience frayed. Diane noticed, "Get your head in the game, Brielle. We're not losing this." Ava tried to help, suggesting a celebratory dinner at our favorite Tex-Mex spot, but I declined, unable to fake joy. Alone, I found Jesse's old sketchbook in a drawer, pages of vibrant murals, community center blueprints, dreams he'd shelved. Tucked inside was a new sketch, a Marfa studio, labeled Reset. My heart sank. This wasn't a man without ambition. This was a man who'd stopped sharing it with me, afraid I'd judge it small. I started therapy with Dr. Lopez, a no-nonsense counselor in East Austin. "Why did you say it?" she asked about my comment. I fumbled, then admitted I'd felt trapped by our routine, diminished by Jesse's contentment, and lashed out to feel bigger. Therapy exposed my pattern, using ambition as armor, dismissing Jesse's dreams as lesser. I journaled nightly, cataloging moments I'd chosen pride over partnership. I volunteered at a local youth arts program, mentoring kids who reminded me of Jesse's students. One teen, Sophia, painted a mural I praised, and her quiet thanks, Ms. Brielle, grounded me more than any corporate win. Ava noticed the shift. "You're softer," she said over coffee. "Like you're actually here." I wasn't softer. I was awake, listening for the first time. I confided in Cal, who I tracked down at an art fair. "He's hurting." Cal said, his voice kind but firm. "You made him feel like he's not enough. He's in Marfa to find himself, not to leave you." His words stung, but they clarified I hadn't just questioned Jesse's ambition, I'd questioned his worth. The renewable deal hit a crisis when a key grant fell through, threatening the project. Diane was furious, and I leaned on Marcus, who pulled late nights to rework our proposal. We salvaged it, but Diane's good recovery felt hollow. Work couldn't fill the void. 2 months into Jesse's absence, I saw him at a South Austin gallery opening, invited by a mutual friend. He looked different, stronger, his hair longer, a new ease in his smile. He was with Cal, laughing over a painting. Our eyes met, and his smile faded not to anger but to distance. I'd lost the man who'd painted our bungalow's accent wall, who'd brought me chamomile tea during late-night work sessions, who'd trusted me with his heart. I left choking on the truth he'd stopped waiting for me to see him. That night, I wrote Jesse a letter, not to beg, but to own my mistakes. I apologized for making him feel small, for measuring his dreams against my metrics, for not seeing the artist who'd always been there. I wrote about therapy, Sophia's mural, my regret. I mailed it to Marfa, no expectations. Weeks later, a text, "Got your letter? Coffee when I'm back?" No promises, but a thread of hope. We met at a South Austin cafe, our old spot for lazy brunches. Jesse wore a faded flannel, his eyes wary but open. "Your letter was real," he said. "Like you saw me, not your idea of me?" I nodded, tears prickling. "I don't know what this is," I said, "but I want to earn your trust. Not to win, but because you're worth it." He sipped his coffee, thoughtful. "I'm not ready to move back. Marfa's showing me who I can be, but I want to see if we can sit together again, find something honest." I smiled, small but genuine. "I'll show up, over time." He nodded. "That's enough for now." Months later, we're not reconciled, but we're talking coffee every other week, no pressure. The bungalow feels less like a crypt. I'm not the Brielle who judged Jesse's dreams. I'm learning to listen, to value his soul over my hustle. Jesse's painting again, planning a community workshop. Sophia's mural won a local award, and I cried at her showcase. Marcus is leading smaller projects, and Diane's noticing my focus. Dr. Lopez says growth is messy, and I'm living it, one journal entry, one coffee, one honest moment at a time. Life lessons from Brielle's story. Brielle's journey is a gut check for anyone who's let ambition overshadow love. In Austin's blend of chill vibes and corporate drive, It's easy to mistake a partner's contentment for stagnation, to prioritize personal wins over shared dreams. Brielle wasn't malicious. She was human, stretched thin by a career that demanded her all and a marriage she'd stopped nurturing. Her question wasn't just a jab, it was a symptom of years diminishing the man who showed up for her. For those balancing careers and relationships, Brielle's story hits hard. The urge to measure love by milestones is real, but partnership thrives on safety, emotional, vulnerable safety. Healing starts with owning your role, not deflecting, and grows through presence, not pride. Whether Brielle and Jesse rebuild isn't the point. Her growth is choosing empathy over ego, connection over control. Love lives in small acts, a shared glance, a kept promise, a dream validated before it's dismissed. Choose safety. Choose presence. Choose growth even when it hurts. Are you seeing your partner's dreams or measuring them against your own? Don't wait for silence to teach you what you could have cherished.